My brother stopped me at the door on Thanksgiving morning and shouted, "You're not welcome, leave immediately," while my family watched nodding. So I said okay without argument, walked to my car and canceled the $50,000 holiday expenses I'd paid for. Welcome, family. If this story touches your heart, show some love by subscribing and letting us know where you're watching from. Now let's go on with the story. I stood on Eric's porch at 7:30 Thanksgiving morning, balancing a box of fresh flowers I'd driven 2 hours to pick up from the specialty florist. My arms ached, but I was smiling. Behind me, 3 delivery trucks idled in the driveway, waiting for my signal to unload $50,000 worth of holiday magic I'd spent 6 months planning. Then my brother opened the door and everything shattered. "You're not welcome here. Leave immediately." Eric's voice cut through the crisp November air like broken glass. His eyes were cold, unfamiliar. This wasn't my baby brother who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during long car rides. This was a stranger wearing his face. I froze, flowers trembling in my grip. "Eric, what?" "You heard me, Felicia. Get off my property." He stepped forward, blocking the doorway completely. Behind him I could see movement. Mama appeared first, her face set in stone. Then Daddy, avoiding my eyes. My sister Susie smirked from the kitchen entrance, arms crossed. My aunts, uncles, cousins, 15 family members I'd worked myself nearly to death to give the perfect Thanksgiving. They all stood there nodding in silent agreement. "But I don't understand," I whispered, my voice cracking. "I paid for everything. The caterers are right behind me. The turkey's being carved at the rental facility right now. I have the decorators scheduled to arrive in 20 minutes. "Should have thought about that before," Eric said flatly. "Nobody wants you here. We've talked about it. You're selfish, you're controlling, and frankly, Felicia, you're exhausting. Now leave before I call the police." The flowers slipped from my hands, petals scattering across the pristine porch I'd paid to have power washed 3 days ago. 6 months earlier, I'd been sitting in my apartment when Mama called. "Baby, Eric wants to host Thanksgiving this year at his new house," she'd said, her voice warm with excitement. "But you know he and Susie are just starting out. They can't afford nothing fancy." That's when the idea took root. I'd just gotten my promotion to senior marketing director, finally breaking into 6 figures after years of grinding. "What if I handle everything?" I'd offered. "I want to do this, Mama. I want to give our family the Thanksgiving we never had growing up." Mama had cried. "You always were my generous girl." I'd grown up watching Mama work 3 jobs, her hands cracked and bleeding from harsh cleaning chemicals. Daddy drove trucks cross-country, gone more than he was home. We ate generic brand everything. Our Thanksgivings were potluck affairs with mismatched plates and store-brand stuffing. I remembered being 12, watching rich kids at school talk about their family gatherings with crystal glasses and professional catering, feeling that hot shame of poverty in my chest. Now I could give my family that. Now I could be the reason they'd never feel less than again. I'd spent every spare moment planning. Premium organic turkey from a specialty farm. A professional catering company that cost more than my first car. I'd rented crystal, china, silverware. I'd hired decorators to transform Eric's modest home into something from a magazine spread. I'd maxed out 2 credit cards and depleted my emergency fund. But it was worth it. Family was worth everything. Or so I'd thought, standing on that porch with my brother's hatred radiating toward me like heat from asphalt in summer. "Eric, please." I hated how my voice sounded. Small, begging. "Just tell me what I did wrong. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix because you're not part of this anymore." He started to close the door. That's when Susie pushed past him, her eyes glittering with something ugly. "You really don't get it, do you? You think throwing money around makes you better than us? Walking around with your fancy job and your designer bags, making us all feel like charity cases." I started, but she cut me off. "You did. Every single time." "Oh, don't worry, I'll handle it." "Oh, you can't afford that, let me pay." "You made Eric feel like a failure in his own house, Felicia. His first time hosting, and you swooped in like some savior taking over everything." My mind reeled. "You asked me to help. Mama called me." "We asked you to bring a side dish," Mama said quietly from inside, finally speaking. Maybe help with groceries. Not all this. She gestured vaguely. You always take everything too far. Always trying to prove something. The trucks behind me rumbled louder and I could feel the drivers watching. Neighbors were peeking through curtains. The morning sun felt too bright, exposing me like a specimen under glass. I was trying to do something nice, I said, my throat tight with unshed tears. I wanted to give you all the Thanksgiving you deserved. The Thanksgiving we deserved? Daddy finally spoke, his voice hard. We deserved a family meal, not a damn showcase for your ego. You made this about you, Felicia. Like always. Something inside me cracked. Not broke, cracked. Like ice on a frozen lake. The first sharp sound before everything plunges into dark water. I stood there for what felt like hours but was probably 30 seconds. My phone buzzed in my pocket, probably the decorator asking where to park. Behind me, the catering truck's engine ticked as it cooled. Somewhere down the street, children laughed, oblivious to the implosion of my world. Then I remembered something. A conversation from 3 weeks ago that I'd brushed aside at the time. My best friend Elvira had said over coffee, "Girl, are you sure about spending all this money? That's your whole safety net." "They're my family," I'd replied like it was the most obvious thing in the world. You don't put a price on family. But do they appreciate it? When's the last time any of them asked how you were doing? Really asked, not just small talk. I'd laughed it off. They show love differently. Not everyone is demonstrative. Now, standing on this porch with 15 people who'd rather watch me humiliated than speak one word in my defense, Elvira's question echoed differently. When had they last asked about me? My promotion had been met with, "Must be nice," and comments about me forgetting where I came from. When I'd mentioned feeling overwhelmed at work, Susie had said I was humble bragging. When I'd cried about my breakup with Darnell, Mama had said, "Well, you probably intimidated him with all that success." I'd made excuses for them. Family was complicated. They didn't mean it like that. They were proud, just bad at showing it. But now, seeing Eric's curled lip, Susie's triumphant smirk, Mama's cold indifference, I saw the truth I'd been avoiding. They didn't love me. They resented me. I pulled my phone from my pocket and Eric tensed. "I told you I'll call the police if..." "I'm calling the caterers," I said quietly, cutting him off. My voice sounded different even to my own ears. Steadier. Colder. "And the decorators. And the rental company. And the florist. And everyone else I've spent the last 6 months coordinating with." Susie laughed. "Oh, so now you're gonna throw a tantrum? Real mature, Felicia." I ignored her, dialing the catering company first. "Hi, this is Felicia Johnson. I need to cancel order 7473 for today. Yes, the Mitchell party. Cancel everything and do not deliver to this address." "Wait," Mama's voice rose from inside. "Felicia, what are you doing?" "I'm leaving," I said simply, moving to the next number. "Like you asked." I hit dial. "Hello, Elegant Events? I need to cancel my decoration installation scheduled for 8 o'clock. "Yes, I understand there's a cancellation fee." "That's fine." Eric's face changed from anger to something else. Uncertainty maybe, or the first flicker of realization. "Hold on now, you don't have to." "You told me to leave," I said, my eyes meeting his directly for the first time. "So I'm leaving. But I'm taking everything I paid for with me." "That's petty as hell," Susie spat. "No," I said, dialing the rental company. "Petty would be letting you use what I bought while treating me like garbage. This is called self-respect." Into the phone. "I need to cancel my china, crystal, and table setting rental. Order J592. Behind Eric, I could see family members whispering urgently. Aunt Dee pushed forward. "Baby, maybe we all just need to calm down and talk about this." "Now you want to talk," I said, not even looking up from my phone as I scrolled through my vendor contacts. Where was that energy 5 minutes ago when Eric told me I wasn't welcome? "Oh, that's right, you were nodding along with everyone else." Aunt Dee flinched. "Good. I wanted them to feel something, anything, even if it was just discomfort." I dialed the specialty butcher. "Hi, I need to cancel my turkey order for pickup. The 30-pound heritage bird." "Yes, order number 9876. I'll stop by tomorrow for my deposit refund. Felicia, you're being ridiculous, Daddy said, stepping onto the porch. That turkey cost $300. You're just gonna waste it. I'm not wasting anything. I'm not giving it to people who don't want me around. I pulled up my spreadsheet. Yes, I had a spreadsheet color-coded and detailed because I'd wanted everything perfect. Let's see what else. Oh, the wine. $2,000 in wine pairings. The organic vegetables from the Farmers Collective. The custom pies from that bakery downtown. My fingers flew across the screen, making calls, sending emails. With each cancellation I felt lighter. Like I'd been carrying all of them on my back for years and was finally setting the weight down. The catering manager tried to tell me about the short notice cancellation fee. 70% of the total cost. I didn't care. I'd rather lose $3,500 than give them a single bite of food I'd provided. This is crazy, Eric said, his voice rising. You can't just cancel Thanksgiving. I'm not canceling Thanksgiving, I corrected, my tone eerily calm. I'm canceling my participation in your Thanksgiving. You'll still have the holiday. You just won't have anything I paid for. Figure it out yourselves. Susie grabbed Eric's arm. She's bluffing. She wouldn't actually, but her voice trailed off as the first truck pulled away, the driver giving me a sympathetic nod as I waved him off. Then the second. Then the third. Felicia, baby, let's go inside and discuss this like adults. Mama tried, her voice taking on that syrupy tone she used when she wanted something. We may have overreacted. The stress of the holiday, you know how it is. No. The word came out sharp and final. You don't get to do this. You don't get to humiliate me in front of the whole family, tell me I'm selfish and controlling and unwanted, and then walk it back the second you realize your meal ticket is leaving. Meal ticket. Mama's face flushed with anger. Is that what you think this is about? Money. What else would it be about? I shot back. Because it's clearly not about love. People who love you don't stand silent while you're being verbally destroyed. People who love you don't nod along when you're told you're not welcome. I could see more family members gathering behind them now. Uncle Gregory, Aunt Carol, my cousins Brittany and Terrell. They'd all been inside, all been part of that silent jury that convicted me without trial. Brittany at least had the decency to look ashamed, her eyes downcast. We didn't know he was gonna say all that, Uncle Gregory offered weakly. It just escalated. And yet not one of you said a word in my defense. I pulled up my flower vendor's contact. Not one. You know what that tells me? Tells me Eric said exactly what all of you were thinking. He just had the guts to say it out loud. As I canceled the flowers, my phone started buzzing with texts. Elvira, girl, are you okay? I have a bad feeling. My coworker Angela. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family. And several messages in the family group chat that I'd been removed from. I could tell because my messages weren't delivering anymore. You removed me from the family chat? I looked up at Susie, who had the grace to look away. When? How long have you all been talking about me behind my back? Last week, she muttered. And we weren't talking about you, we were just planning the day without your input. Because you were taking over everything. I was taking over because you asked for my help. My voice finally rose, months of swallowed hurt exploding outward. I have the text messages, Susie. Mama called me crying about how stressed Eric was, how they couldn't afford to host properly, how disappointed she was that their first big family gathering at his house would be embarrassing. I yanked out my phone, scrolling furiously. Here. June 14th. Baby, I don't know what we're gonna do. Eric is so excited, but we don't have the money for nothing nice. I wish we could give the family something special. Mama's face paled. I didn't mean. July 2nd, I continued, my voice shaking. Susie texted me, can you help us out? Eric is freaking out about the cost. You know how he gets when money's tight. And my response? Don't worry, I've got you. Let me handle everything so you can just enjoy the day. Remember that, Susie? Or were you already planning to throw it back in my face? The silence was deafening. Even the neighbors had stopped pretending not to watch. Daddy stepped forward, his jaw tight. Now you listen here, Felicia. We raised you better than this. Family doesn't abandon family over a misunderstanding. The laugh that came out of me was bitter and harsh. You want to talk about family, Daddy? Let's talk about family. Let's talk about how I've been the one showing up for everyone else's emergencies. When Eric needed a co-signer for his car, I did it. When Susie's rent was short, I covered it. When Mama needed that surgery and insurance didn't cover everything, I paid $3,000 out of pocket. And you threw it in our faces ever since, Susie snapped. I never mentioned it once. I screamed, startling everyone including myself. Not once did I bring up any of it because that's not what you do for people you love. You just help. You just show up. But apparently I'm the selfish one. I'm the controlling one. I'm the one with the ego problem. Tears were streaming down my face now, hot and angry. You want to know the truth? I wasn't trying to prove anything with this Thanksgiving. I was trying to heal something. I was trying to give you all the holiday I never had as a kid. The one where we didn't have to worry about money or feel less than. I wanted to look around a table full of beautiful food and nice things and see my family happy and proud, not struggling. We didn't need you to save us, Eric said quietly. But you needed me to pay for everything, I shot back. That's the part you're all conveniently forgetting. You wanted my money. You just didn't want me. My phone rang, the decorator asking if she should return the garland and centerpieces to the warehouse. Yes, I said clearly. And I'll stop by next week to collect my deposit. Felicia, please, Mama was crying now. Don't do this. Don't tear this family apart over pride. I'm not tearing anything apart, Mama. I'm just finally seeing what's already broken. I looked at each of them in turn. You know what the worst part is? I would have forgiven anything if you'd just been honest with me. If Eric had called 2 weeks ago and said, "Hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed by the scale of this, can we scale back?" I would have understood. If any of you had said, "We appreciate the gesture but we want something simpler," I would have listened. But instead you let me spend months planning, thousands of dollars buying and countless hours organizing. All while talking about me behind my back in a chat I didn't know I was excluded from. And then when I showed up this morning excited to finally give you all this gift, you didn't even have the decency to take me aside privately. You humiliated me. Publicly. With an audience. Uncle Gregory spoke up. Maybe we all need to take a breath and... There is no we anymore, I said flatly. That's what you decided this morning. You all made your choice when you stood there nodding. Now live with it. I pulled up my banking app and started processing cancellations. The chair rental, gone. The table linens, cancelled. The special lighting setup, nope. Each swipe felt like breaking chains I hadn't realized were binding me. You're gonna regret this, Susie said, her voice shrill. When you're alone on Thanksgiving, alone on Christmas, alone for the rest of your life because you chose money over family. I chose myself, I interrupted, and the clarity in those 3 words rang through the air like a bell. I chose my dignity, my self-respect, my mental health, and if that means being alone then I'll be alone. But at least I'll be free. I looked at Eric directly. You asked me who I thought I was, showing up here like I owned the place. I'll tell you who I am. I'm the woman who worked her way out of poverty while sending money home every month. I'm the sister who dropped everything to help when you called. I'm the daughter who never asked for anything in return. But I'm done being the family ATM who gets treated like an inconvenience. My final call was to the rental company for the tables and chairs. 75 seats, all gone. They can eat standing up, I muttered, and Brittany actually gasped. As I hung up, I noticed Elvira pulling into the driveway. I'd texted her the address weeks ago, inviting her to join us. She jumped out of her car, took one look at my face, then at the family gathered on the porch, and her expression hardened. "Oh hell no," she said, marching up to stand beside me. "What happened?" "They uninvited me," I said simply. "From the Thanksgiving I paid for." Elvira's eyes went wide, then narrowed. "Are you serious right now?" She looked at Eric. "You for real did that?" "This is family business," Eric started, but Elvira cut him off with a hand. "Family? Family doesn't do this." Elvira wrapped her arm around my shoulders. "Come on, honey. You're spending today with people who actually love you. As we turned to leave, Mama called out one more time. Felicia, if you walk away now, don't come back. I mean it. I stopped, turned, looked at my mother, the woman I'd worked myself to exhaustion trying to honor and provide for. Mama, I'm not walking away. You pushed me out. But I want you to remember this moment. Remember it when you're eating whatever y'all managed to scrape together today. Remember it when birthdays come and there's no gift from me. Remember it when emergencies happen and your first thought is to call me for money. We don't need your money, Daddy said, but his voice lacked conviction. Yes, you do. You always have. The difference is, I finally understand that my bank account was the only part of me you ever valued. I pulled out my wallet and threw it on the ground. Credit cards, cash, everything scattered across the porch. There. That's what you really want from me anyway. Take it. Have Thanksgiving on me one last time. I walked to Elvira's car, my head high even as my heart shattered. Behind me, I could hear them arguing among themselves, blame being thrown around, but I didn't look back. Elvira drove in silence for a few blocks before pulling over. I'm so proud of you, she whispered, and that's when I finally broke down completely, sobbing in the passenger seat of her Honda while the world blurred around me. But even through the tears, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Light. Unburdened. Free. 2 months later, I'm sitting in my apartment on a quiet Saturday evening, working on my laptop when my phone buzzes. It's a text from a number I don't recognize. This is Brittany. I got your number from your old job's website. I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us, but I need you to know that Thanksgiving destroyed this family. Mama and Susie aren't speaking. Eric is in therapy. They're all blaming each other for what happened and nobody will admit they were wrong to you. I'm sorry I didn't speak up. I was a coward and you deserved better. I hope you're okay. I stare at the message for a long time. Part of me wants to respond, to absolve her, to fix things like I always did. But I don't. Instead, I delete the message and return to my work. Because here's what I learned. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you will hurt you most. Sometimes family is toxic and walking away isn't giving up. It's survival. I spent $50,000 that day, but what I really bought was the truth. And as painful as it was, that truth set me free. I won't lie and say I don't miss them. I do. I miss the idea of them, the fantasy I'd built of a grateful, loving family gathered around a perfect table. But I don't miss the reality. The constant criticism, the jealousy disguised as concern, the way my success became their excuse to treat me as less than. I don't miss being the only one who showed up, only to be resented for it. The holidays came and went. Elvira's family welcomed me with open arms. My coworkers invited me to their gatherings. I discovered that chosen family can be stronger than blood, and that love isn't supposed to leave you feeling empty. My apartment is quiet now, but it's a peaceful quiet. I sleep better. I smile more. And when I see families in stores arguing over holiday dinners, I don't feel that pang of longing anymore. I feel grateful. Grateful I had the strength to walk away, grateful I chose myself, grateful I finally understood that the best gift I could give myself was freedom. If you're reading this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you're the one always giving, always fixing, always hoping, please hear me. You are worth more than what you can provide. Your value isn't measured in dollars or sacrifices. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is leave. That Thanksgiving morning, my brother stopped me at the door. But I opened a different one, the one that led to my own life, my own peace, my own worth. And I've never looked back. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes we all need permission to choose ourselves. Drop a comment below about your own experiences with family boundaries. You're not alone in this struggle.